We're back here on the Lynne Hayes-Freeland Show. How many times do you get to celebrate a 150th anniversary? Not very often, I suspect, but there is a celebration coming up for, of all organizations, the YWCA of Greater Pittsburgh. It is their 150th anniversary. They're having a gala to celebrate. Here to talk about it, two individuals, two perspectives. Maggie Jensen is the CEO of the YWCA of Greater Pittsburgh. Marcia Jones is currently a board member, but she is the immediate past president of their board of directors. Welcome to you both.
Thank you for having us.
And Maggie, let me start with you. I mean, 150 years, that's like amazing to me.
Yes, and I think it speaks to women's leadership here in Pittsburgh that we have existed so long and have been able to be flexible with our programming and our advocacy.
Absolutely. And Marcia, let's talk about that a little bit, because in 150 years, the focus has changed multiple times.
Absolutely, and one of the greatest things about the YW is its agility to be able to adapt to various situations that exist within the community and still be able to be true to its mission of empowering women and eliminating racism.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, it's kind of interesting because, and I tell this story all the time, I remember as a child coming to the summer programs on Wood Street at the YWCA, and those were some of my fondest memories. Let's talk about some of the focus areas today, Maggie, and then we'll talk about the gala.
Okay. We have about 11 programs. It's really social services. But at the same time, we've always had a focus on social action to try and address some of the issues leading to those services. We have 4 housing programs for homeless families. We have an after-school program. It's a STEM program, science, technology, engineering, and math, for middle school girls, and we're in 20 middle schools around the region.
Awesome.
We also have the Resource Center, where women and men and families in need can come to us, and we can hook them up with all kinds of programs that we have, and if we can't help them, we'll refer them to someplace in Pittsburgh that can. And then we have our advocacy part of us, which is run through the Center for Race and Gender Equity. So we try to keep this dual focus and be able to change with the times. As
the need changes. Well, Marcia, certainly one of the things that has never changed is the need to support, encourage, and empower women and young girls. And I feel like that's kind of the underlying theme of this gala.
Absolutely. And certainly our keynote speaker, Dr. is definitely a very appropriate choice for us because of the fact that the Biden Foundation really has a number of pillars that are very similar to the mission of the YW, and so we're really very excited about that. One of the things that I think we recognize in terms of the board is the importance, just as you indicated, that the YW has played in our lives, and what has linked many of the board members has actually been the experiences that they had in their youth that they want to be able to share and have other generations experience.
And you know, that's interesting because just as I sit here and reflect on it, my summer spent at the YWCA, that was one of those things where my mother said, well, you're not going to sit around the house all summer, you're going to go do something constructive. But then you look back and those are all things that helped shape your life and shaped who you become.
Very much so.
And I think over the 150 years, we started in 1867. The very first services were to families of Union soldier veterans that were suffering. There were no charities or assistance at that time. And over the years, if you look at what's going on in the city and the world, it sort of is reflected. So during the Depression, when women couldn't pay for housing, they were not paying, but we kept them. During the World War II, women didn't have places to eat near industry, so we had canteens. From an advocacy point of view, we really started during suffrage, and so the focus was on gender rights, civil rights, voting rights. Pittsburgh was one of the first YWCAs in the nation to integrate in 1945. The National did in 1946. So at that point, the lens widened and changed and became more inclusive with regard to rights, which is something we're still actively working on today.
So I'm guessing then the event coming up on the 13th of April
Yes.
is an opportunity to not only reflect, but to re-energize for the next 150 years.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about the logistics, the when, the where, and how folks get tickets.
Go ahead.
The event will be taking place on Friday, April 13th, at the Wyndham Grand
Okay.
at 5:30. As we mentioned, our keynote is going to be Dr. Jill Biden, who we're really very excited about. Folks are able to have tickets. They can call either the YW, or they could actually go to our website and
Okay.
actually get tickets there as well.
And get ticket information. And this really is, I mean, I can't stress 150 years enough, because I'm hard pressed. I mean, I can think of a couple churches in this area that are about that old, but there are not many institutions in our community that have been around that long and are still thriving.
Exactly.
Yes.
I would share that there are not many institutions in the country that are that old and that are
Touche.
still thriving.
You're right. All right, ladies, thanks so much. So again, it's the 13th of April, so I'm guessing that's really just right around the corner. Folks need to get on that website right now and get their tickets. And it's a gala, so are we talking black tie? What are we talking about?
Actually,
gala?
business attire, since the
Okay.
reception starts at 5:30.
Okay.
So we're saying
big relief.
business attire,
Awesome.
dressy business attire.
There you go.
Yes.
Ladies, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you
Ron.
so
you
much for
very
the
much.
invitation.
50 years. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about another event coming to the city of Pittsburgh. It is a Chi Eta Phi Sorority Incorporated conference. Who are they, you ask? Stick around. We'll tell you in just a minute when the Lynne Hayes-Freeland Show continues.